What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the Champions League draw live stream. Watch along. You're here with us to go through the draw as UEFA just about underway in Monaco. We'd never know how much waffling on they're going to do, Chris, before they start these things, especially with a new format. But we'll be here with you throughout the course of the whole draw. If they do a lot of waffling, we've got a lot of waffling to do as well, mate, because we've got some simulations to go through. We've got your dream draw, my dream draw, lots to look forward to. But first of all, we're going to start with the news that Celtic have agreed a record deal with Augsburg for Arne Engels, Chris. £11 million. It seems like he's on his way to Glasgow for a medical tomorrow, just in the nick of time, of course, because the window closes tomorrow night. But it looks like we are going to get a record signing. What do you make of it?
Well, I mean, look, we've been clamoring for weeks. We've been clamoring for weeks to reinvest the money we knew was coming from the sale of Matt O'Reilly. I mean, it's 26 million up front for O'Reilly with another 4 in add-ons. So you shared the graphic the other day. We were 17.25 million in the positive, right? So a substantial amount of that now is going out the door with, the 11 million committed up front for Engels. And, he's a 20-year-old player, but he's clearly just watching some of and I know they're only YouTube highlights, but he is a prototypical Brendan Rodgers type player. Looks like he's got a real engine on him, can definitely be a box-to-box player. He's got a pass on him too. His vision, some of his passing I saw in the clips this morning, absolutely superb. So that was an absolute must signing. Like, there's just no getting away from it. I mean, to lose a player of O'Reilly's quality, especially how he's played in the last 12 months specifically. And I'm not sitting here saying, without watching Engels play, a significant number of games, I'm not going to make any judgment on whether he'll be poorer than O'Reilly, as good or better. I'm just excited that the club have finally showed a bit of intent in terms of reinvesting a significant portion of those funds on the type of player that our model needs. We need young players who can come in and make an immediate impact on the first team. And if they do really, really well in 2, 3, 4 years' time, likely sell that player on for double the amount. And in O'Reilly's case, it was like unfathomable to go from 1.5 million to 26. But delighted that deal is done. And now we just need to fill that left centre back role. And I will personally be content. I'm not content about the process at which the club have gone about this, and that's a whole other discussion, Paul. Yeah. But if we're going into tomorrow evening stronger than when we entered the year, trusty, if that's the deal that gets done, I will be content with that, the process aside.
Yeah, there's lots to go through when the window finally closes. Just on Trusty, there has been news just before we came on here that a £6 million deal has been agreed with Sheffield United. Can't really confirm it through any of the most trusted sources that you see online yet, but the word is that we will get him over the line before tomorrow night as well. But just to go back quickly, by the way, on the draw, they've just got Buffon on stage, as I'm sure you're aware. You're live with us, by the way, so if you can like the video, that'd be brilliant. The more likes we get in the video, the wider it goes. And if you can subscribe as well, if you're not already, we're very close to 42,000. That would be much appreciated. Just on the Engels deal, let's have a quick look at the details on it, as was confirmed earlier by Florian Plettenberg. £11 million, as we say, €13 million. There's a talk of €2 million in add-ons there, guaranteed add-ons. Now, I think that is what takes it to €13 million, not pounds, and also a 20% sell-on in there for Augsburg. So there's no doubt it's a great deal for them. They got him from Club Brugge. They've made a high profit on him, but it was clear that this was the player that Brendan Rodgers wanted to replace Matt O'Reilly, and it's good that it looks like we will get it over the line before tomorrow. As you already say, Chris, there's there's so much to dissect once this window closes. But it's just good that we're going to get somebody in, because it was unfathomable to think of closing out this window without replacing Matt O'Reilly, and it does represent a step forward, because it is a record signing, and that's what we have to get used to doing, replacing these players. If we have this model where they come in and impress, and then we move them on to bigger leagues, we've got to have the replacements right in behind them, and we've got to be willing to spend in that higher bracket, as I said yesterday, because you look at the players we've sold in this transfer window, what £2 and £3 million gets you these days, as both Awal, Mikey Johnston, the players that we've watched and seen recently aren't quite good enough to make the grade at Celtic. So we've got to move away for that £2-3 million bracket. And I suppose this is a promising step in doing that. In terms of Trusty, left-sided centre-half, we'll try and keep tabs on that as we go through this draw. If the deal does get verified, would you make of that? Do you think, don't know how much you've seen of him, but would you make of that deal?
I mean, I think we can all agree as Celtic supporters that Liam Scales divides members and factions of the Celtic support. I think he's done tremendous. However, if you want to make a step forward in Europe, with the greatest amount of respect to Liam Scales, and I don't know if Trusty, again, I'll use the same analogy that I did with Engels and O'Reilly. I'm not going to judge him until I can see him. But I think we can all agree fundamentally that was a position that we needed to strengthen in, irrespective of who is going to potentially be in that starting left-sided central defence position alongside Carter Vickers. But we've heard the manager say many, many times, Paul, he needs competition for places for the first team, right? You don't spend, if the deal is agreed for £6 million, you don't spend £6 million on a player, in my opinion, if you intend to just put him on the bench and not be competing for the starting 11. So I think going into this transfer window, we had to replace Joe Hart. We did that with Kasper Schmeichel. I think we all know what he is as a goalkeeper, and that likely he'll be here for 2 years. You pay a nominal amount for Sinisalo, and he gets to understudy Schmeichel for 1, if not 2 years, with a view. That's the most forward-thinking the club has been in terms of a position, knowing we had to replace Joe Hart. Left back was a serious area where we only had one real left back at the club, and Greg Taylor, who has been a phenomenal servant to Celtic. But again, he is now going to start probably, looking to taper off maybe a little bit. And you need, again, competition, Paul. So Alex Valle, if there's a way for us to sign him or loan him again for the second year, because he has 1 extra year left on his Barca contract, because they added that, which is probably very smart from their perspective, because I think they know that this may turn out to be something a bit more long-term. That's a position we all knew needed done. O'Reilly had to be replaced. We needed another striker. I think Dyson Maeda can operate as a third striker, so I'm comfortable if we go with Kyogo, Adamida, and having Maeda as a third choice striker in the event that we need one. And with the resurgence of Nicholas Kuhn and Forrest continuing to do really, really well, and Palma still developing, Bernardo back, it is a good window. If we close all of these deals, you cannot say that we are not a better team.
Just on Lewis Palma there, sorry to jump in, just on Lewis Palma, apparently the club have knocked back some interest from the Bundesliga for Palma in the last couple of days. You never know how to take those things, though. The Rio Hatate news yesterday that we'd rejected a bid from an unnamed French club. Always treat those things with scepticism when it's an unnamed club and it comes out after we get the news that the Bogut's deal is dead, from one of the club's most trusted sources in Stephen McGowan. Healthy level of scepticism about that, and maybe with the Palma stuff too, just a sign that we're not bringing in a winger. But I agree that it does bolster the squad. There's obviously so much to do for the club in terms of recruitment that I think the delays this summer have been a shambles at times. We don't have a head of recruitment as it stands. That's something that we need to look at. But
Yeah.
We'll keep that all for another discussion another day.
Yeah.
To get back to the draw, the only thing I would ask of you is that there's almost 1,000 of you on. If you're going to watch it with us, try and let us reveal the teams, and no spoil it for everybody in the comments. I'm sure a few of you will, but try your best not to. Cristiano Ronaldo's on the stage at the minute collecting an award for being the all-time leading scorer in the Champions League. Let's take a look though at the pots and where Celtic stand. We'll go through a wee bit about how the new format works as well. I'm sure some of you are sick fed up hearing about it, but there might be some of you who are still trying to get your head around about it. So that is the 4 pots. There's 9 teams in each pot. This new Swiss model format is doing away with the old group stage in terms of 8 groups of 4. We're now going to have one 36-team league. Every team will play 2 opponents from each pot, even the pot that you're in. So, for example, we'll get 2 teams for pot 1. We'll play 1 at home and 1 away, and the same from the rest of the pots. The top 8 teams in the 36-team league progress to the last 16. The teams between 9th and 24th go into a playoff, and that works the same style as like the Championship playoffs in England, for example, where 24th plays 9th, 10th plays 23rd, 11th plays 22nd, and so on. Everyone who finishes 25th and below is eliminated from the competition. There's no safety net of dropping down to the Europa League in this new format. So if we finish 25th or below, we will exit all European competition. But there is the incentive of those 2 extra games in this format, regardless of how things go. So we will have European football after Christmas, even if it took a rule change to get us that to play in the Champions League in the new year, because those 2 extra fixtures, as we'll touch on in a moment, fall in January. So we're going to go through my ideal scenario, Chris's ideal scenario. I can see your comments coming in asking about dream draws. We'll get to that in just a second. First of all, let's have a look at these dates. There they are. Obviously, match day 1, 17th, 18th, 19th. So that's the game after, I think, we return from the international break. Derby this weekend, international break. We come back and play Hearts at home, and then it's the opening game of the Champions League. Obviously, as you can see highlighted in yellow, are those 2 extra dates in January. Chris, the first 6 match days are as they were, really, as you expect them to be in years gone by, but it's going to be a lot different having those 2 Champions League games in January. I don't think there's a winter break this season. So, usually in January we're used to the winter break and then coming back with the 4th round of the Scottish Cup to sort of break us back in gently. But with those 2 Champions League games, there's going to be no such thing this season.
Yeah, it's going to be full tilt, and I mean that's where having a squad and a strong squad, where you can rotate players in certain league or cup games to give your ideal starting 11 much needed rest, Paul, and obviously injuries will come. Hopefully, they're not anything of significance or for long periods of time, but it's very exciting. I personally absolutely love this new format. I love the idea of playing 2 teams from each pot, 1 home, 1 away. It's just going to make for some unbelievably fantastic one-off games, Paul. And I cannot wait. And obviously, jokes aside, having European football beyond December 31 is nice, but depending on what the draw goes, I mean, we're going to talk about our dream draws. I'm not saying that would be the draw I would want in terms of potential matchups, but just in terms of the glamour and some of the great destinations that Celtic Fans TV can hopefully go to and see the away games. That was one of the questions from one of our viewers was, will Celtic Fans TV be at the away games? And I'm sure you'll make every effort to get yourself there as you've done in the last couple of years. But this is a great format, and I'm super excited to see who we get and then watch those one-off ties. This is going to be, I think it's a fantastic change to what was probably a pretty stale structure for the Champions League and what is the most elite knockout competition in world football for clubs.
Aye, the intention is that we can go to all the away games as we have done the last couple of seasons. Let's hope we can keep that up. there's no doubt, Chris, that probably in the chairman's statement next season we'll get Champions League football after Christmas, probably paraded as an achievement.
Of course we will.
You know what it's like. But yep, so that's the Champions League match dates there. Let's have a quick look at the league games that follow those as well. I've actually put league games after Champions League, and the first one's a cup match, of course, against Falkirk. But the rest of them are league games, Chris. And the thing that stands out there is that there's some tricky away ties. Obviously, we don't know who we'll be facing and whether we'll be home or away in the Champions League on which match days yet. That will be confirmed probably on Saturday. But there's no doubt there's some tricky away games in there to navigate in between these Champions League games.
Yeah, like just, you know, when you said this to me ahead of time, I was just thinking, man, there is some tough fixtures in there. Like particularly if you were on a really tough away European trip and you're coming home to Motherwell away or Kilmarnock away, I would say those are tough fixtures. If I was to pick any,
well too.
Absolutely, right. So that's just not going to be, automatic. And again, so that comes back to my point I was just making about the squad and the ability to rotate and not having a significant drop off in your levels. That's what's going to be really, really key during definitely the period. October, November, December is going to be pretty grueling if we're going on in all four competitions, which is what we expect. And I think the League Cup final is December 11th, if memory serves me right, in and around that time. So, you know, if we're there, that again, just it's another tie and another league game that has to be rescheduled. So, super exciting though, and really looking forward to seeing this draw, Paul. Be great if UEFA could actually expedite the process. But here we are. One good question in the comments, Paul, was if we make any signings in January window, are they eligible to play in the two Champions League games post-split? Yeah.
Pass.
Great question, by the way.
We need to check the rules on that one.
I thought
that is a
fantastic question.
There's always one.
Yeah.
It depends on the UEFA rules, I suppose. We've got until the 3rd of September. I can see people talking about this in the comments as well. Until the 3rd of September to register any players that come in the last couple of days of the window. But that is a good one. Will we be able to add players in January and then play them in those match days 7 and 8? I don't know. Obviously, this has never been the case in the Champions League. It's always like a new round by the time you come to the last 16 in February, and players signed in January can always take part in that. But I don't know if when you register your group stage or your league stage squad, as it's going to be called now, that's final and you can't make any amendments to it for those January fixtures. We'll just have to wait and see. Another question in the comments has been about how many teams can we face from the same country? That's 2. So teams from the same country can't play against each other. That country protection still exists, as it did with the old group stages, but we can face, for example, Inter Milan from pot 1 and AC Milan from pot 2, but we can't face any more Italian teams if that was to be the case. So you can face 2 from each country. It looks like we're about to get started. Cristiano Ronaldo is going to be involved here by the looks of things. How the draw is going to work is that they're going to draw all pot 1 teams manually, and because of the complexity involved in scheduling all these fixtures in this new format, a software will automatically generate the 8 fixtures for each team as they come out of the pot. So that means that as we go through the pots, some of Celtic's fixtures will be revealed to us before Celtic come out of the hat. At least that's how I expect it to work. If there's any hiccups, we'll let you know. Giorgio Marchetti, UEFA's Deputy General Secretary, has just started talking, so it looks like we are about to get underway. I'm just wondering if I've got time to go through these dream draws. We're going to have to do it now, Chris. So we'll start with yours while I keep tabs on this draw. There's Chris. That's his dream situation. He's went all glamour. If you ask me, there's absolutely no chance we're finishing anywhere above 30th. If that's what comes at the computer system. But talk us through it, Chris.
Wow, the assignment from the captain, aka Paul, was give me your dream draw, not what I would like to draw. So in terms of like glamour ties, I mean, look, Can you imagine Celtic Liverpool Champions League at Celtic Park? I mean, that would just be absolutely unbelievable. Yes, we probably would get pumped. Smell the glove. Don't deny it. And obviously, another trip to the newly renovated Santiago Bernabeu would be amazing. My favorite all-time game as a Celtic fan, I was at the Celtic 4 Juventus 3 game. That was when we did our top 5 video, Paul. So I'd love another bite of that apple. I picked AC Milan for you, Paul, so you can finally get to the San Siro. And then the middle pot there, I thought Young Boys and Sporting are teams that we've not played in Europe, for a long time. If we have, I didn't look it up, but I don't ever recall us playing Young Boys. Sporting obviously has the tie with Lisbon in terms of 67, not the stadium we played in, but just the whole and the same color strip colors. I just thought that was a really cool tie. And then another Battle of Britain with Aston Villa, and then a great trip for the Celtic fans to Monaco where they can drop hundreds of pounds at the casinos.
I don't know if you've noticed, Chris, but I think Callum might be watching. There's a wee comment in there for him.
Oh my.
Question whether you might be under the influence of something.
I am not, Callum. I'm not.
So let's have a quick look at my dream draw as such. I've gone Leipzig from pot 1 at home, based on the fact they're probably the brackets easiest team. I know there's no easy teams in this competition, let alone in pot 1, but Leipzig at home. I've gone Inter away so that I can get to the San Siro before they demolish the place. In case you didn't know this, by the way, the last time we played one of the Milan teams was during COVID. AC Milan and the away game was on my birthday. So let's hope we draw one of those teams before they... I don't know what's happened with that situation, by the way. They've obviously pushed it back, knocking it down, but that's what I've went with. Pot 2, Shakhtar and Club Brugge. Shakhtar at home, I know we just faced them, but again, I've went for the easy option there. In terms of trying to get some points, they don't look in particularly great shape, and they've obviously lost Mudryk since that time we faced them a couple of seasons back. So them at home, Bruges away. Bruges would be a nice away day, I think. And again, in terms of on paper, not one of the strongest teams. I'm sure they're a good side, but I've just went with those for the away tie. Pot 3, by the way, just want to point out, this is not how it will be structured. It won't be the pot 1 teams, then the pot 2 teams, then the pot 3 teams. It'll be completely random in terms of how the computer puts it out, but this is the easiest way for us to structure it for these graphics. Red Star Belgrade at home for pot 3, Sporting away as well, Chris. I'd just like to go to Lisbon. Actually stopped there on the way to Madrid when we faced Real Madrid a couple of seasons ago. Got to go and see the 67 stadium, and even visited the Benfica's ground and Sporting's ground as well. Did the tour at Benfica, and sort of just went past Sporting's ground. So would love to go to Lisbon. And then for pot 4, Sturm Graz. Again, I've went for the easy option, I think. And Sparta Prague away, again, be a nice away day to go to Prague. But I think in pot 4, there's lots of interesting teams that we haven't played very much. I think other than Stuttgart, who of course we faced on the run to Seville, we've played no one recently. We played Slovan Bratislava back in 1964, but we haven't faced any of the other teams in pot 4 competitively. So lots to look forward to, lots of interesting ties that could be thrown up by this new format. Again, I believe UEFA are just currently running through how it's going to work before it actually gets underway. But that's the dream scenario for me.
I'd just like to say for the record, Paul, that my dream scenario is more about the glamour and the sheer magnitude of those ties. I fully recognize we would absolutely get pumped and we would not finish in the middle 16 spots, which is kind of where we want to go. But I came at it from the angle of like what would make for unbelievable ties. Obviously, I would much rather we have games that were extremely competitive and have a chance of actually getting some good results. But that's the reason I went at it from that angle. It was fun. It was fun to just go, oh, that would be a glamour tie. That would be a glamour tie. So, but no, I mean, I fully recognize we would get absolutely hammered. But no, so it's fun. It's great to have 8 unique games I think will make for a really fantastic Champions League campaign this year for all teams involved. I just think that's going to make it really, really exciting.
Mm-hmm. Aye, there's lots of interesting things that this new format could throw up. I just want to point out in my pot one, I was torn between Dortmund away, because I'd also like to go there, but because they're not imminently knocking that down, I just pumped for Inter. I also did a simulation today in the new format. We can take a quick look at that. It's going to be very hard for you guys to read, I accept that, but it's very detailed given the new structure. So don't know if you can see in
Arsenal.
that Arsenal away, Lille at home, Sporting away, Girona at home, Liverpool away, Dortmund at home, Milan at home, and then Sparta Prague away on match day 8. That's a sort of more cluttered fixture schedule, the way it will probably come out in this new computer software that UEFA are going to use for this. But that's what the simulation threw up. I think we're just about to get started in the pot one teams, because they've had the montage of all the pot one teams, and now there's a list on the screen, and I think either Buffon or Ronaldo are going to be asked to take out the first team. Chris, was there any other teams that you didn't put in your sort of dream scenario that you were thinking about?
Yeah, just let me quickly, because I'm just going to pull them up here, because I know we were looking at them this morning.
First team
But
is out,
yeah,
Manchester City.
Manchester City, right out
So
the
Man
chute.
City are the first team out. Obviously, winners a couple of years back for the first time in their history. So I believe what's going to happen now is this software, which looks like it's been operated by Cristiano Ronaldo pushing a big Champions League button, is generating their fixtures so that at home to Inter, away to Paris Saint-Germain, home to Club Brugge, away to Juventus, home to Feyenoord, away to Sporting Lisbon, home to Sparta Prague, and away to Slovan Bratislava, we are not going to play Manchester City.
I am not unhappy about that.
It's a huge relief. I wouldn't mind
Yeah,
an English team, by the way. I really wouldn't mind
no,
an English team, but no
just
Man
not
City.
them. Just no City. Yeah, I
Not
wouldn't
Man
mind a
City.
crack at Arsenal, maybe Liverpool. I get that they're bigger, better than us, but there's just something about our ability to raise our game against English teams over the last 20 years that has proven us wrong time over time.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
If
no,
you've
it's
just joined us,
great.
by the way, please drop a like on the video. That helps us get as wide an audience as possible. Inter Milan are out next. This format is brilliant, by the way. It's so much more streamlined. It's brilliant to watch this graphic. It's just pot them up one fixture at a time
Brilliant.
with automatically generated games. So we know that Man City are playing Inter Milan already. So one of Inter's fixtures is Man City away. They've got Leipzig at home, Arsenal at home, away to Leverkusen, home to Red Star Belgrade, away to Young Boys, home to Monaco, and away to Sparta Prague. So we're not going to face Inter Milan either. This is
Inter
brilliant, by
Milan
the way.
City, though, that's a
This is
tasty fixture.
this is entertainment, by the way. I don't know if any of you that are watching are also watching the draw, or you're just here with us, but it's way better than the last format, where a team would come out a hat and then they'd need to go and manually pick out 8 balls with the group letters in them, and then put them in a big pot and then spin it, and then wait on Buffon or whoever it would be opening up the ball for the group they're going in. Bayern Munich are out next. So let's see who Bayern Munich get. I wonder when we should come up, because obviously as we go on, we're more likely to come out as each team passes. So Bayern Munich, I don't think they have a fixture generated yet as part of the first two. They're going to be at home to Paris Saint-Germain, away to Barcelona, home to Benfica, away to Shakhtar, home to Dinamo Zagreb, away to Feyenoord, at home to Slovan Bratislava, and away to Aston Villa. So we won't be playing Bayern Munich either, which I'm glad, because we've faced them. You kind of like to stay away from the teams that you've faced in recent years, and we have played Bayern Munich back in 17-18. That was my first European away trip. Absolutely loved it, loved the stadium, but I'm not too gutted about not having to face them again, although they did finish third last season in the Bundesliga, which was very, very rare, and Vincent Kompany has just taken over as manager. Yes, Callum, Slovan Bratislava have got some extremely tough fixtures. I don't know if just because they were the first pot 1 team, this software seems to be absolutely killing them. But here we go, Leipzig are out next. Leipzig are next, so they're already going to face Inter Milan away as one of their fixtures. And completing their set of games just in a wee second. As away to Inter Milan, home to Juventus, away to Atletico Madrid, home to Sporting, away to Celtic, Leipzig at home for pot 1, home to Aston Villa and away to Sturm Graz. So Celtic's first fixture has been confirmed. We will face Leipzig at Celtic Park.
That's fantastic.
Who had that in their dream draw? I think it was me.
I believe you did.
We'll absolutely take Leipzig at home. So there you go. Celtic's first fixture. Might not be the first fixture in calendar terms, of course, but that will be confirmed on Saturday, I believe.
Yeah, there's a lot of people wondering, Paul, in the comments, how this draw works. So basically, they have to pick a team from pot 1 first, and then it automatically, once that big Champions League button is hit, it just literally spits out their 8 fixtures. And then as all the pot 1 teams get drawn, it's just going to fill in other teams along the way. It's much, much faster than the
Dortmund are out next, Chris. Dortmund away.
Dortmund away.
Borussia Dortmund away. Callum's absolutely killing us in the comments here, by the way. Because my stream is a wee tiny bit behind Callum. So there you go. Second fixture.
Callum,
Dortmund away.
Did say no spoilers, mate. No spoilers, Callum. Just keep your fingertips to yourself, son.
So that was the other team, Chris. I said the other team that I was going to put in my dream scenario was Dortmund. So if I just edit that wee banner, we should be able to bring it up. So there you go. That's Celtic's first
2 fantastic fixtures. 2
Celtic's
fantastic
pot 1
fixtures.
teams. And with all due respect to Leipzig and Dortmund, we could have got a lot tougher opponents, I think, from pot 1. I know that Dortmund were finalists last season, but they do have a new manager in Nuri Sahin, who's just taken over. And Leipzig, of course, I know we've played them in recent years in the Europa League and the Champions League just 2 years ago as well. I've actually been to Leipzig twice, so I'm glad they're the home fixture and not the away fixture. Barcelona are out next. So I think there's only 2 or 3 pot 1 teams remaining: Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool. But Celtic's pot 1 fixtures are confirmed. You can see them going along the bottom of your screen now. We'll face RB Leipzig at home and Borussia Dortmund away. Chris, Dortmund away must have been close to your glamour scenario.
Oh yeah, no, it was really, I was totally torn between that and Real Madrid. Obviously, Real Madrid, it's just, it's Real Madrid, right? But in terms of practical, Dortmund made the Champions League final, for crying out loud, last year. It's not exactly like it's an easy draw, but in terms of like the teams we could have got, it's certainly no too bad.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised to see that Edin Terzic had left Borussia Dortmund after guiding in the Champions League final. I don't know why that was. I don't know what went into that decision, whether it was on Dortmund's part or on his, but it's an absolute bucket list to see Celtic play Borussia Dortmund. We have faced them before, not in my living memory though, in the 1992-93 UEFA Cup and in 87-88. So we have played Borussia Dortmund before. I'm sure lots of you in the comments and lots of you watching will remember those UEFA Cup ties against Dortmund all those years ago, but we haven't played them. I mean, I was born in 1993, so we haven't really played them in my lifetime. So I'm absolutely buzzing to face them and to get the chance to go to Signal Iduna Park for the first time. Absolutely buzzing. What a great venue, what a great atmosphere it always is. And we'll obviously take a strong support there. So that's a bit of a glamour fixture for us. Liverpool are out. They're facing Real Madrid at home. They're also facing Leipzig, but that's their away fixture for pot 1. Home to Leverkusen, away to AC Milan, home to Lille, away to PSV, home to Bologna, and away to Girona. So that just about completes pot 1. I think there's one team left to go. But in terms of Leipzig, Chris, we've obviously faced them recently. A couple of years ago under Ange, we lost the away fixture 3-1, and I think we lost 2-0 at Celtic Park. We were sort of in the game at 0-0 for a long period of time, and they just took it away from us. I think Werner scored a header, if I remember correctly, and they ended up winning the game 2-0 with two relatively late goals in the last sort of quarter of the game. But we know that will be difficult for us. They're managed by Marco Rosa, and they have been for a couple of years now. No part of their Red Bull group, obviously. Always signing young players as well, so that will be tough for us.
It will be. It will be. There's no two ways. They're a quality side, Paul. But in terms of a home game against a pot 1 team, I think that's about as good as we could have wanted in terms of a potential opportunity to take something from that game. So now let's see what we get from the pot 2 teams that you know, now will be drawn, and they all start filling in their fixtures. It's absolutely, it's just super exciting. But yeah,
in terms of stature as well, even in terms of stature, the club Leipzig are the smallest club in pot 1. Obviously, there's lots of huge teams there with huge histories in this competition. Lots of past winners, multiple past winners of the competition. Leipzig are not that, of course. But no doubt it will still be a really difficult tie for us. So that is pot 1 complete. All of the teams have had their fixtures confirmed. Paris Saint-Germain were last. They've got Man City and Bayern Munich from pot 1, Atletico Madrid and Arsenal from pot 2, PSV and Salzburg from pot 3, and Girona and Stuttgart from pot 4. So we're going to start pot 2 now. So by the time UEFA have completed pot 2, we will know half of Celtic's fixtures. Let's have a quick look, Chris, again at the teams in pot 2, just in case anyone has forgotten it. Bayer Leverkusen, the Bundesliga champions, Atletico Madrid, who we faced last season, got a 2-2 draw at Celtic Park and then got absolutely hammered 6-0 away from home after Maeda sending off. We've got the Europa League winners, Atalanta, who were after Matt O'Reilly for about 2 months there. Juventus, Benfica, Arsenal, Club Brugge, Shakhtar Donetsk, and AC Milan. So that is the teams that are in pot 2. Just to refresh your memory.
Callum's just called for a GoFundMe page to be set up so I can get sent over for one of these Champions League away days. I'll take a home game too. So somebody wants to establish that for Chris living out in Canada. I'll be all over it. Get that GoFundMe started and I will be there. And you can see me on the post-match pint with the lads. In terms of who I would actually want, not my dream, I would have to say in this list, Paul, Benfica, Bruges, or Shakhtar would be really, really good ties for us. Really, really good ties.
Yeah, absolutely buzzing that there's more than 1,300 of you with us for this, by the way. If you've just joined us, Celtic have been drawn against Leipzig and Dortmund from pot 1, Leipzig at home, Dortmund away. Please like this video if you haven't already. That will help us get even more people on as we approach pot 2. So again, just the usual procedural stuff that UEFA are going through just now, and we're about to get the first team drawn out of pot 2 by Gianluigi Buffon. So let's see who's first out of pot 2. It is Atletico Madrid. So we could do without that one after last season. Again, you just like to face different opponents. They're facing Leipzig at home, Paris Saint-Germain away. I think those are already confirmed for them, obviously, from pot 1. Leverkusen at home, Benfica away, Lille at home, Salzburg away, Bratislava at home, and Sparta Prague away. So we won't be facing Atletico Madrid 2 years in a row.
Happy about that.
Which is nice.
One of the questions, Paul, was for example, if we draw, say, Bayer Leverkusen as example in the second pot, we can no longer draw any more German teams. That's what the computer software actually figures out. So if Leverkusen did come out, we can get them, but then no more German teams would be open to us.
Yes.
Hopefully that helps with people, because you can only play 2 teams from the same country.
So next up, is Atalanta. Atalanta from Italy, Europa League winners last season, beat Bayer Leverkusen very comfortably with Ademola Lookman hat-trick in the final, of course. And we are going to face Atalanta away from home. So they've got Real Madrid, Barcelona, Arsenal, Shakhtar, and Celtic from pot 3.
Wow.
So we're away to Atalanta. Again, a nice trip to Italy. Again, Atalanta are obviously very well coached. I actually watched them against Real Madrid in the Super Cup. It's Gasperini, I think, that's the coach there.
And sorry, I misspoke, Paul. We can't get any more German teams. My bad, because we have Leipzig
and Dortmund,
right? And Dortmund.
Yeah.
So that we're tapped out with German teams. Sorry, good catch, everybody at home.
We got the 2 German teams for pot 1. So
yeah.
There you go. Atalanta away. Gasperini's the manager. They've got some good players, of course. The likes of Lookman, who I think has been linked with a move to PSG this summer. Next up, Club Brugge. Club Brugge at home.
This is great.
We're going to face Club Brugge at home. By the way, is that another one? No, I had Club Brugge away in my dream draw.
You had Club Brugge away, but you have picked the teams, maybe not the home or away, but that is pretty impressive. You've done well so far there.
So Club Brugge at home, I'm just going to take away that banner so that I can update it. Chris, if you just want to give us your thoughts on
that's
Atalanta
a fantastic
away.
That is a fantastic draw. Look, Atalanta away, very, very tough fixture, no doubt. But Club Brugge at home and Leipzig at home, like, you cannot ask for 2 better home ties out of those first 2 pots, given that that's the toughest games in theory. So that is absolutely superb. Like,
I really
brilliant.
like the look of that. Really like the look of that. We've never played Atalanta in competitive competition. We've never played Club Brugge either. So it's nice to get some fresh fixtures that you're not used to, teams that you haven't faced all the time. For the people that go on away trips, to go to new cities, places you haven't been before. I know Atalanta are based in Bergamo, which I think is just north of Milan. I'm sure it's an absolutely beautiful place. So that'll be a nice trip for us. But Club Brugge at home as well. It's shaping up to be a nice draw for us. And again, I know that it's not always as simple as that.
No.
But
we know this to be
staying away from the fixtures of death, as they call it so far, Chris.
We definitely have. Like, look at the teams we've avoided so far. You've avoided Real, Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, Juventus, Man City, Liverpool. Like, that's some huge teams to have avoided. And in our Celtic Fans TV group chat, Darren said he was praying for Dortmund away. So happy that your prayers have been answered, Darren.
Dortmund away, like for everyone who prioritizes an away trip every season, Dortmund is going to be the one.
Yeah, that is going to be pretty epic.
Absolutely buzzing for it. But Chris, the thing is, the important context here about these teams that have come out so far is that it's the new format. We only play them once. We've got those 8 games, and really what we're targeting is to finish 24th or higher to guarantee an extra 2 fixtures. And I think that new format is going to throw up hopefully some shocks, which can help a sort of lower seeded team like us. We can maybe catch some of these teams off guard, but as we say, with avoiding some of those big hitters, it gives us a chance, hopefully, to get some points on the board.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because of the way this, exciting new fixture and format is going to work, there is a chance that some teams who would traditionally do really well in the 4-team group stage with the home and away ties, where you might be automatic to take 6 points from a team. It may not happen like that because you only play a team once, and you may just get really tough ties as a result of maybe the top team in the second and the third pot being really good European sides. So it's great. But for us so far, I cannot complain. Yeah. Leipzig at home, Club Brugge at home. That is excellent.
Aye, it's brilliant. I'm not going to get my trip to the San Siro this time around. I might need to just settle for trying to go and see the San Siro without Celtic playing a fixture in it.
Yeah.
But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I just want to bring in a comment here, by the way. 1,500 of you watching this live stream. Thank you. If you haven't liked the video already, please do so. I think 1,500 is nearing the record that we've ever had on a live stream at one time. I just want to bring in Mark's comment quickly. Atalanta away, 434 million versus 106, and Club Brugge at home, 136 v 106. Mark, I don't know if you can still clarify, you talking about the squad values there.
I think that's what that would be if I was to guess. So look at Atalanta's squad value; it's 4 times more than ours, and we're about 30 million less than Club Brugge. I mean, that's that's a pretty level playing field for a pot 2 team going up against pot 3. I want Aston Villa, by the way. I put that on my.
Gaz saying there, Villa away incoming. Villa away, they're the big hitters in pot 4. I know they don't have much recent Champions League experience. I know they've got a great European history, but they don't have recent Champions League experience. But you look at the teams in pot 4, Aston Villa are the team that you don't want, coached by Unai Emery. Very, very good side. Very good side. I could do without facing Aston Villa. But having said that, I did say I would like an English team. I'm sure their away trip down to Birmingham would be a good one. But I'm just sorry, Chris. I'm just keeping tabs on this. Shakhtar, the last team out of pot 2. So pot 2 is completed with Shakhtar Donetsk. Please ask your questions and get your comments in, and we'll try and fill this dead time between pot 2 and pot 3. So pot 3 is obviously Celtic's pot. We might get 6 of our fixtures. We might get 5 of our fixtures confirmed before we come out. But obviously, if we come out early, as soon as we come out, we will have all 8 of our fixtures confirmed. So that is coming next.
Yeah.
So not too much longer to wait to confirm Celtic's complete fixtures, but they're just UEFA just have the graphic up now of the complete pot 2 sets of fixtures. So get your questions in before they start with pot 3 here. We're just getting a montage of all the teams. PSV, I'd like to remind PSV, even as an away trip, we flew to Eindhoven last year before we went to Rotterdam. I think we get the train to Rotterdam from Eindhoven. Wouldn't mind a trip to face PSV. That's another team that I don't think we've faced in recent memory.
No, and that again would be a great trip, Paul, for the Celtic fans if that was indeed.
Never faced PSV in a competitive game. Sorry, just clarifying that there. Never faced them. I think we played them in a friendly in 2015.
I wouldn't have recalled a competitive match against PSV Eindhoven. So I think. Milo, to confirm, we have RB Leipzig at home.
It's going on the bottom of your screen now.
Borussia Dortmund away. Those were the pot 1 teams, and then in pot 2 we drew Atalanta away, and then Club Brugge at home, which are excellent ties from Celtic's competitive perspective, and also a couple of fantastic away trips to Germany and Italy, among others.
Yep, if you're just joining us, the ticker at the bottom of the screen confirms Celtic's first 4 Champions League fixtures. As Chris has just said, Leipzig at home, Dortmund away, Atalanta away, and Club Brugge at home. So we're just about to start pot 3. There's Michael confirming Bologna is one of the most beautiful places on earth. So they're in pot 4. We'll see how that one goes. Have we still got room to face another Italian team? Yes, we have.
Yeah.
One more Italian team. Tony would like Red Star Belgrade from this pot, which I think is who I had in my dream scenario as the home team.
Oh, I called it.
First pot 3 team.
I called it.
Is Young Boys of Bern. I can see in the comments that we might be involved here. And Celtic look like they might face Young Boys at home. That is the case. So Young Boys from Bern are going to come to Celtic Park. So we know 5 of our fixtures now, and I don't think we'll know the rest of them until we come out of the hat ourselves.
Yep.
So the first fixture from pot 3 for Celtic is Young Boys at home. So
and of all my dream ties, this one was more of a realistic tie. So I'm absolutely delighted.
By the way, I just want to point out, I know these are all getting carried away in the comments. Young Boys knocked out Galatasaray in the playoff.
They're no joke. They're not a joke. They're a good
don't get
team.
too excited. But a good side managed by Patrick Raman. We did face them in the 1993-94 UEFA Cup. Celtic won 1-0 on aggregate. I think both games were 0-0. The tie went to extra time and Celtic won 1-0 on aggregate. So there's some knowledge for you. Right, next out, PSV. This doesn't really matter for us because I don't believe we're going to be involved until we actually come out of the hat now. Or no, no, that's wrong, I suppose. Aye, sorry, ignore me. We could come out again and have a 6th fixture confirmed before we come out, and then get the pot 4 fixtures drawn up. So Lille, PSV, and Young Boys out so far. Next is Feyenoord. So next out of pot 3 is Feyenoord, who we obviously played last season. We lost 2-0 in Rotterdam, and we won the last group stage match 2-1 at Celtic Park against Feyenoord with a last-minute Gustav Lagerbielke goal. The first and only goal Gustav Lagerbielke might score for Celtic after his loan move to FC20. But Feyenoord are out. We've avoided them, which is nice, having just played them last season. Next out is Dinamo Zagreb. Dinamo Zagreb are out next. And I can already see in the comments, thanks for preempting it. We are away to Dinamo Zagreb. So we know the pot 3 fixtures. We're at home to Young Boys and away to Zagreb. Chris, that's another beautiful city added to the away day list, Zagreb.
It sure is. Like, this is just shaping up to be a fantastic draw. Yeah, in the comments, I live in Canada, was born in Glasgow. If you're no new to Celtic Fans TV, that is not new/old news for those that are asking about my jumbled accent. But on to more important things.
Maybe we just need to get a stock recording of you explaining that. We can just play
Yeah. So no, I've been here since 2005, so I got 19 years of probably mixed accent now. But yes, born in Glasgow, very proud Celtic fan. Love this channel, and this draw is just absolutely dynamite.
Glasgow, this is looking very good.
Yeah,
yes, on
let's be
paper,
honest.
as it goes, this has been kind to Celtic so far. Not too many big hitters. Even, I mean, if you look at pot 3, I suppose the teams with the most sort of European history are Feyenoord, who have won this competition before, obviously beat Celtic in the final back in 1970. PSV Eindhoven as well. Salzburg are in here, Lille are in here from Liga 1. So I think even in this pot, we've avoided what you would consider to be the big hitters. Dinamo Zagreb beat Karabag to reach the knockout stage. They had to go through qualifiers. They played Karabag in the playoff. Celtic are out, so we're about to have our final fixtures confirmed. We're at home to Slovan Bratislava and away to Aston Villa.
I called it.
Yes.
I called it. Let's go.
Away to Aston Villa. So we finally get an away trip to England.
This is great.
I mean, I think half of Scotland and half of Glasgow will probably be in Birmingham on that day. Aston Villa away. A lot of reaction saying that this is almost the perfect draw, almost the dream draw. Slovan Bratislava at home. Here's a fact for you that you might not know about Slovan Bratislava. They are managed by Vladimir Weiss. No, not that. Vladimir Weiss, his dad.
Wow.
So Vladimir Vice, ex-Rangers player, his dad is the manager of Slovan Bratislava. They beat Midtjylland in the playoff to make it to the league stage. And as I say, we haven't played a lot of teams in pot 4. We have played Slovan Bratislava back in 1964. Be interesting to know if there's anybody watching that can comment that remembers Celtic facing Slovan Bratislava in the 1964 UEFA Cup. Celtic won 2-0 on aggregate. I think it was 1-0 in Bratislava and 1-0 in Glasgow. So there you go. Celtic's fixtures for the Champions League new format are confirmed. We're going to have them in full running along the bottom of your screen now. So,
I mean, Paul, let's just be honest. We're seeing it in the comments, so I'll just call it out. It is the draw of opportunity. Like that, you really, obviously, there are some very difficult fixtures in there. I'm not naive. Away to Dortmund, away to Atalanta, away to Zagreb, and away to Villa. That's 4. If you look at them in that perspective, those are tough fixtures. But there are some opportunities even within that, and the home games especially. This is great.
I just want to bring in a
Absolutely.
comment here. Young boys are my local club. Shame we're not playing in Bern. Would have loved to go there. So there you go.
Brilliant.
A viewer in Bern. We are facing them at home. But, I mean, I'm buzzing to face Aston Villa as the away tie. I think Villa Park's a great ground as well, one I've never been to. But as we just said before, pot 3 was drawn, Chris. Aston Villa away is the big hitter from that
That's
pot.
a spicy tie.
But I think we can take that. We can accept Aston Villa for pot 4, given that we avoided many of the big hitters in the earlier pots. Do you agree with that?
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I mean, I think there would have been some other really, really tough teams that we could have gotten across pots 3 and pot 4, Paul. So, I mean, Villa are probably not really a pot 4 team in terms of their budget and their squad. And obviously, Unai Emery is an excellent, excellent manager. But that is a great tie. A Battle of Britain tie. Birmingham is going to be bouncing, absolutely bouncing. And yeah, there is just nothing but excitement and anticipation when I look at that draw in totality, Paul. I mean, that is fantastic. And Celtic board, if you're watching, because we know you've got nothing better to do on a Thursday, you should be watching the only premier fan content YouTube show, which is Celtic Fans TV. Continue to get the pocketbook out and let's build around our manager who came back to us for a second time. And let's not drive him out the door another time. Let's actually back the manager. To be fair, £11 million in Engels is a good signal of intent. And I am absolutely buzzing for this draw.
Yeah, so if you've just joined us or you're not aware, Celtic's Champions League fixtures are confirmed. They're running along the bottom of your screen now. The exact order of the games, the exact dates for the games won't be confirmed until Saturday. That's in line with what it used to be like in the old format. I know Nicholas is asking there, when will the dates of the matches come out? It's likely to be Saturday. That's how it used to work. I think that's how it will still work. An interesting point there, Chris, in the comments from Magnet67, 10 points likely needed to get into the playoffs. So if you have a look at those fixtures, do you think it's within Celtic's realm to get 10 points from those fixtures?
You're putting me on the spot when I'm all like hyped up and I'm gonna TV myself here, okay? But I will say this, Paul. On paper, there is an excellent chance for us to get to that 10-point mark. But what we have unfortunately failed to do over the last 2 Champions League campaigns is capitalize on really big moments in games. And we've let ourselves down in the converse or the reverse key moments where we've given up goals at really, really bad times in those games. I mean, the Lazio game at home is a prime example. You have a goal taken away from you for offside, and then you give up the losing goal in the dying minutes. That's what we have to avoid in these fixtures where on paper we have an excellent chance. So that's what I'll say. Is that we do have it's the draw of opportunity, like I said earlier. Piggybacking off the comments from our live viewers, but I mean, the opportunity is in front of us. Go grab it. Go take it.
Yeah, it's all there for us. As I say, I think this format, certainly in the early years of this format, I know that we're going to have to qualify regardless of what happens in the league this season next time around, but I think the first season of this format represents an opportunity for us, whether it be that some of the bigger teams don't take it so seriously, or that just the ability to try and secure that playoff and get 2 extra games is there. I just think this gives us that chance, and the fact that you don't play the same team twice as well, I think is big, because if you get a real big hitter out of pot 1 in the old format, Real Madrid, for example, you play them home and away, you're dead on for 0 points.
Pretty much.
In this format, I know pot 1's still going to be the most difficult, of course it is. There's still that element to it, but I think the fact that these are one-off games now gives you a better chance at surprising some teams.
Oh, 100%. And I think us surprising some of the teams we play, but also just across the entire competition, Paul, we talked about it. There are going to be some shock results. And it's going to lead to probably, and I hope that when we go into those last 2 fixtures for post-Christmas European football, we are still in with a shout of the window, right? I mean, top 8 would be absolutely ridiculous, and I'm not going to sit here and say that we have a chance of doing that, because I want to be balanced. But I think the draw and the opportunity to potentially get into those other 16 spots, 9 through 24, is huge, absolutely huge.
Yeah, I think it represents a big opportunity for us, and let's hope that we get these deals done in the next, I suppose, 36 hours or less. Actually, it's less than 36 hours to go now in the transfer window. We talked at the top of the show about the record-breaking deal for Arne Engels, who's on his way to Glasgow to complete a medical to bolster midfield. The question mark there is, Brendan Rodgers said he wanted 2 midfield players in. If he was going to lose Matt O'Reilly, are we going to get to it? Won't be Mateusz Boguts, because he's not coming from LAFC. Some speculation that the club might look at Luke McCowan from Dundee, who's a good player, but I think there's been a bit of doubt about him coming to Celtic, obviously because of the financial strength of the club, and then bringing him here from Dundee after having been interested in someone like Boguts in the 8 to 10 million pounds range. Just a comment there saying Matt O'Reilly must be thinking right now. Gutted for Matt O'Reilly, by the way, off the back of that tackle in his debut for Brighton. Ankle surgery.
That's awful.
Going to be out for a few months. That is a real shame for him, but he's not a Celtic player anymore. We've got 8 Champions League fixtures to look forward to. They're running along the bottom of your screen now. It is Leipzig at home, Dortmund away from pot 1. From pot 2, it is Club Brugge at home. It's Club Brugge at home and Atalanta away from pot 2. From pot 3, it's Young Boys at home, Dinamo Zagreb away. And from pot 4, it's Slovan Bratislava at home and Aston Villa of the English Premier League away. So that is your 3 destinations: Dortmund, Bergamo, Zagreb and Birmingham. That's a great mix in terms of beautiful cities. There's even one that's down the road that you can drive to.
That Villa tie.
So much to look forward to.
All right, Callum, if you're still watching, go launch that GoFundMe page for Chris and somebody get me a ticket to that Aston Villa game. I'm there. Let's do it.
If you come to the Villa game, then you can surely come to a home league game as well.
Well, that would be it, right?
While you're at it.
That would be unbelievable. No, this is fantastic. What a brilliant draw. And I love this new format, and the way that the draw just spills out the teams, Paul, is just absolutely superb. And huge thanks to all our viewers for watching. This is brilliant.
Absolutely. Thank you to all of you who have stuck with us through this live stream. Before we finish up, I just want to check, can any of you who haven't been watching the draw and doing a live stream at the same time confirm if we know the order at all? Yeah, I know Celtic have tweeted the order, but it's just in order of the pots. I don't know if
I thought I saw a comment that the fixtures would be announced on Saturday. If I saw that correctly, I think it's Saturday that the actual order would be established.
Okay, I know that it's Saturday that the actual dates will be established. I didn't know if the order had been confirmed yet. I guess not, because as I say, the club have tweeted just in the plain order of the pots. So there you go. That's it for the Champions League watch along. Thank you so much for joining us. Please like the video if you haven't already. Help us get to as wide an audience as possible. And if you've been watching and you haven't subscribed, all you need to do is log in and click the red subscribe button below. So all that's left to do is thank Chris for his time and for joining us. And we'll see you tomorrow with a derby preview for Sunday's big game, and hopefully some more transfer news. Thank you.